Good morning.
Right. Good morning.
Look, it's Steve, aka Mac 84.
How did I end up here again?
Yeah, well, because we invited you. This time
Yes.
it was deliberate and planned.
It's the only way I'm up this early on a Sunday.
Well, the last time you were with us, it was just a target of opportunity, right?
Yep.
You were rummaging around in your archive or whatever it was.
I was actually upstairs eating breakfast in my pajamas.
Oh.
And then
So we
you
did
suggested I be on the show, and I made a mad dash.
like, hey, that's me.
But, oops. Honey, where's my belt? You know.
Got it.
Well worth it. Well worth it.
I'm glad you're wearing the same shirt that you wore in episode 1 of your clone series. Is that shirt? Who made that shirt?
I did. I actually.
Oh my gosh!
The typography and all that stuff for it.
That's fantastic. That was very nicely done.
Can you sit up a little bit so people can see everything?
Yep.
Macintosh and Performa and Centris and Quadrum PowerBook. And yeah, that's in the 6 colors and.
Yeah, I may or may not make a Bizarro version of this shirt for the clone video part 2, where it's like UMAX and APS and so.
Right.
Is it worth the $30 it takes to print it up?
Of course. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
I'll auction it off afterwards, make double my money back.
If you want to have good reasons to spend your money foolishly, come here and we will give you reasons.
Yeah. Whenever I show a shirt to my wife, she's like, "You have a closet full of shirts you don't wear." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, what's one more?"
Well, that's why we have the YouTube channels to give us excuse to wear these shirts.
Yes,
finally gives me an opportunity. I'm sporting a new one. Well, not
a
one that I had to actually rip the tag off.
Oh, really?
Morning. Yeah, because I had this collection of shirts, thinking that I don't know what I'm thinking when I buy them and never wear them, but I have to admit that I'm just enough maybe protective of my crazy hobby that I don't go wearing them in public.
Okay.
But this isn't, I don't consider this public, even though this is the internet, because the only people that are ever going to watch this are people that are going to think my shirts are cool.
So what shirt is it?
That's it.
Oh, can you see it?
No,
not yet.
Does it say? Can you see?
I was at the mothership.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
So I have one of those. The first one they had, I think one of the first ones. It's just black with like gray or white text. And then I visited at least 5 years ago or so, and it was just before they changed all the shirts, and it's an orange one with white text and says, "Rumor has it I visited the mothership," or something. Like that. So,
nice.
I'm the same way. I don't wear that out in public, because the one time I wore it, I was at
hey, that's Steve.
Before that, the one time I wore it, I ended up dragging a Epson Stylus 3000 inkjet printer with like these huge ink tanks. I got ink all over me. I don't know how a spot did not get on the shirt.
Oh my goodness.
It was a miracle.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you could join us.
Of course.
Talk to you later in the show. We're going to do an intro first before we get to
I'll
anything.
be quiet until you wink at me 5 times.
I actually, we've been chatting and all that stuff. I haven't even brought up any of my recording software.
Yeah, I have to go to the YouTubes and greet everybody there.
So let me get set up.
Right. I'm working on the same thing.
Yeah.
We're just having so much fun. That's why.
I know.
That's right. Okay.
Oh,
Looks
it's
like,
requiring me to update ACE. My gosh.
I love when that happens.
Oh gosh.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hold on while I reboot.
Oh man.
Well, that'll give me a good time. I could spam you my t-shirt link in here. Anybody wants to buy this glorious shirt, and let me get a discount code. I wish I could make them free, but I don't make them. Let me see. Promotions. How the sausage is made, folks.
That's right. That's part of the one. It's I don't want to, but just watching your videos is you're so good at kind of keeping track of what's going on in the comments as people comment.
I try. It's not easy. I was going to make the promo code RetroMacCast, but it cuts it off. How about James John? Yeah, that's easy. That's an insider thing there.
That's right.
Let's see. We'll give you guys let's see, $10 off. How about that?
Bam!
I think it's a maximum it lets me.
Wait, I feel like we're doing one of those infomercials.
But wait, there's more.
Oh wait, yes. just for all listeners today, we're going to give you this much of a discount, and you
Just
get an
pay-
extra one
And I'm
free.
back.
Just pay separate processing and shipping. That's $50. Oh boy.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
I
hello.
don't hear anything.
That
Please
was
stand
perfect.
by. We are experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah. That was pretty funny. All right, so I'll paste that in too.
I was
Let me
just
see
before
what I'm
starting the
typing.
podcast. I was trying to get Local Talk Bridge working
Oh.
on one of my systems because I want to. Normally, I have an iBook back here with my SU30.
Oh, yeah,
and I
that's
was
right.
going to get Spectre running on both of them, but
Oh,
yeah, the bridge system I was using has OS 9 on it, and I think that's just too new for Local Talk Bridge to work.
yeah.
I need to go to like 8.1.
From like 8.1, something like
Yeah.
that. It's always fun when you figure that out, and there's no other documentation for that.
Well, no, I have to say there was documentation because.
Oh,
if you
okay. You just
actually-
didn't bother reading it, just like I do.
Right, exactly. I installed it first, and then it said, "Oh, maybe I should just read the RTFM." Right.
Read the README.
All right, I'm back.
He's
All
back.
right.
Yeah,
So
my
just-
iJack Pro update just shut everything down.
Of course.
It was just a mess.
I'll spam the link in the chat too, but there's a link to the t-shirt that I have on.
Oh,
Not that I'm telling anybody has to buy it, but I did make a promo code just for you guys. So if anybody's feeling purchasey, they could go ahead and do that. I don't get a cent with the promo code, but at least people get to buy the shirt. So
you ready to go? John, hello.
Hello.
Are you ready to start?
I am ready to start. Yes, I am.
Let's officially kick this thing off.
All right.
Let's go in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the RetroMacCast with James and John. This is episode 557 for January 24th, 2021. Good morning, John.
Good morning, James. And hey, good morning, Steve.
good morning, James and John. How you guys doing?
Great. And happy birthday.
not a year that goes by that I don't say happy birthday to myself, but to the Macintosh actually.
Yeah, it was 37 years ago today that the world was introduced to Macintosh. So we celebrate that day. We'll talk more about it in the news.
Yeah.
Up some stories about it. Today, yeah.
Gosh, I was just going to say, I remember recording a clip of the 35th anniversary of it, so I feel older now.
Right. Another year has gone by. Steve joined us, aka Mac84. He joins us because we're going to talk more later about his recent series. Well, I guess is it a series yet? Until it has to be a part 2.
Oh, it says part 1, so I would assume
part 1 on it. So
part
1 of 1.
people are already
of course,
bugging me for
we should label everything that just to keep people waiting.
Yes.
Watching paint dry, series 1 of 5. Yeah.
We'll talk about his clones series, and we'll give him the benefit of the doubt later on in the episode.
Always awesome to be here.
But to kick it off, what we? Oh, you know what I was going to mention, and this is for you, John. You mentioned you could use like a laser printer or other things that I'm salvaging from my attic.
Yeah.
I have finally emptied the attic. Now, if you remember, it was a huge effort to move all the computers and associated stuff from the old house to the new. Even after all that, after the 200 plus computers, there was still more in the dark, dusty corners of my attic. Not the best place to store computer hardware, by the way. In an uninsulated, cooled or heated Florida attic. And so let's see. Among the things there I found were about a half a dozen Apple monitors, including a monitor 3. Like a monitor, I think like a monitor that would have been sold around the time of the GS. I think it paired with the GS. And several other various Macintosh monitors.
Mm-hmm.
The plastic looks good. I haven't turned any of them on yet, but I didn't throw them out yet either. They're just kind of dirty. A few laser printers that got very brittle.
Oh,
Like they almost exploded in my hands is how
Ouch.
bad they were. One of them held up really well. Personal laser writer, John, you might be interested in. We'll see.
Absolutely.
How about getting that to you? A portrait display.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, very
Which,
nice.
I don't know. We'll see if that survives. And what other goodies? Oh, speaking of, I was reminded of your first episode, Steve, the Mac 2CX. I found 3 of those in my attic.
I just found a dozen of them, and they're just
I
gone.
think one of them might have been
hopefully,
a CI.
hopefully
I don't
yours
know.
were mice free.
Yes,
As in,
hopefully.
like,
My goodness,
Oh yeah. No, there weren't any critters in any of these things.
that's lucky.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all cleared out. So lots of projects.
It's always
I'm sure.
fun lugging a monitor up the attic, let alone down the attic. So.
Oh my gosh. It's amazing how heavy those things are.
Oh yeah.
That portrait display.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah. Anyway, so I've closed that chapter now. Also, you know what? In my garage, I found about 6 series 100 PowerBooks.
Oh wow.
That I got for parts. They were intact, but loose hinges and whatever. But they did not fare well. They all went right in the bin. They were a mess.
Oh,
so
see now you're just making me want to go there and rummage through your garbage.
All right. Well, let's see. So on the show today, again, we're going to get to eBay finds. We're going to talk to Steve about his clone series. We got news. Anything else I need to mention here at the top, John?
No, nothing on my end.
All right. How about you, Steve? You got some announcements you want to make?
Nope. We'll talk plenty about me, I'm sure.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back with eBay finds. All right. We got that out.
James, I think you still have to send me the eBay finds.
Oh.
I've got the news.
Yeah.
Links.
Yeah, I'm checking my email now. Yeah, I got them.
Send those to you along with a reminder never to point out my errors when we're live.
I was about to say that's a cardinal sin of you throwing out PowerBook parts. I mean, come on.
Well, they were.
I've had a guy who's been begging me for a 145 display cable for like 12 months.
They had like a film on them. I mean, they were just.
Yeah.
It was just disgusting. It was.
And while we're off air, where did you? Well, we could talk about this offline, but I was wondering your general locale as I Google Map you.
Northwest Florida.
Okay. Bit of a.
All right, John.
All right. I'm doing the UMax Super Mac Apple clone. Or do we want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, let's
right.
leave. Let's go in this order. Let's let
Steve do that.
Steve do number 1.
Okay.
That's
the 100.
And you'll do 2, and then I'll do the vest.
Sure thing.
How you want to do it? Okay. All right. Nice.
Yeah. How about I'll do 2, and you do the vest.
That sounds like a better plan.
Okay. Thank you. That's the way you're supposed to do
I'm trying to remember what that was the reference to. I know that was a reference to.
I don't know. It's just a reference to being silly. Okay,
I like
that. Let's see. We want to share the screen with everybody so they can see what we're talking about. And how many cameras can we get up here? Oh, now we're all very tiny.
That's okay.
All right. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. It is time for the eBay finds of the week. Last episode, there was that prototype cube enclosure, complete with original scratches, prototype lettering, and all that. Do you put a bid out on that, Steve?
No, I did not. little
No.
too rich for my blood.
Yeah, it was too rich for everybody's blood. It got 0 bids. It has been relisted. It still has a starting bid of $1,450.
Move the decimal mark on there. Maybe
Right. Or you can make an offer.
$2.
All right. And the Macintosh Classic 2, complete with original box and accessories and software, still available. Buy it now, of £949, which is about $1,300 US. Okay.
It's amazing how much some of those classic machines go for. I mean, some of them are dog slow, but people
Yeah.
just seem to love them.
Well, it hasn't gone for anything yet.
That's true.
And was a lot of 7.
Yes.
Count on the 7 classic Macs. Various models still available because it's bidding up. This one hasn't ended yet. It has another day to go. 19 bids has brought this to $290.
Still a good price.
Still a good
fantastic.
price.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Available for local pickup in Burlingame, California.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to ship those.
No.
Mm-mm.
No. All right. Given that later we're going to talk about clones, I thought we'd talk about clones now too in the eBay find. So we're going to let Steve talk about this first one.
Sure. And you don't see clones too often on eBay. So this is a nice find that you have here. So this is a Power Computing Power 100, one of the first series of clones. These are the 601 based clones, I believe. This 100 megahertz model, and they are asking $480. Has a dead hard drive, but it looks like they are including the CD. It has 24 megabytes of memory, a dead 1 gigabyte drive. I don't know why they are mentioning the size of it if it's dead, but there you go. No keyboard, no mouse, or cables included. But it is interesting to see one of the earlier clones, because usually you do see the later 603 or 604 clones. I'm curious of the painter's tape on the back there in one of the photos, but that's probably just because they stole out some of the PCI card slots there. But this clone is, I believe, from spring of 1995. So this is the PowerPC 601 based clone. It's not a bad machine, but it's obviously one of the first waves of the 601 machines. They were not screamers by any stretch of the imagination when you compare it to the later machines.
Right.
But,
it's funny you mentioned that. There's another picture where it shows a card in there.
oh, really?
Yeah. I'm looking at it now. And so.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. I wonder if
video card.
Yeah, they were saying, well, maybe they thought that putting tape over those video ports would force the machine to boot from the other display port. I don't know. It might be their logic.
Could be.
A little too much, but I mean, I would say a machine, my unrequested opinion here, would be that this machine would probably be worth maybe 100, 200. I think 500 is a little silly.
Yeah. You say they're rare. You know, I knowing that you're going to be on today, I went looking for ones on eBay, and there were very few.
Yeah. I have a few saved searches just in the off chance that somebody's selling one locally, but usually they are like, I'll find the monitor or the keyboard or the mouse, which are all rebranded Mac Alley or other branded peripherals. They didn't really make their own stuff.
Sure.
But this machine is interesting. You may think, oh, there's a spare bay there below the CD drive, but I believe that if it's anything like my clone, that's where the hard drive goes. So you don't have too much expandability, although this one has more slots than mine. So maybe, yeah, there's the inside view there. Yeah, so the hard drive looks like, never mind, it's above the power supply to the back. So you do have one bay of expansion, so that's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it is one of the NuBus-based clones, which is, again, I don't know if it's desirable per se, but it's a possibility there.
All right. Well, this one ships from San Diego. Of course, it's
Well,
heavy.
you know,
it's going to cost
one thing. Look at the logic board again. It may have places for lots of slots, but it actually only will take 3 cards.
It looked like
so you've got 2 unpopulated locations.
Go back to that picture here. Yeah. That's strange.
Pretty,
yeah, you could see it looks like
weird.
there's a card there that might be a riser card. The first one there. I think that has IO on it or whatever it is. And then you only have 3 NuBus cards. I wonder if you were very handy with soldering and happened to just have some spare NuBus slots there. Yeah. Could you expand this machine? That's something I
Yeah.
would do. I'd drive myself crazy doing it, but I would try.
All right. Well, the word from the Clone Master says it's priced too high, but there is a make an offer. So
There you go.
you have that option. Okay. Let's move on to another clone. This time, the UMAX Tower. This time. Similarly priced, buy it now $450, or you can make an offer. Comes with keyboard and software on a working household environment, stored in a dry climate controlled building. It has been tested without a monitor. Okay, but it does make a standard Mac startup sound, so that's a good sign, right? Let's see. Condition looks like it's pretty good.
The box of goodies and the CDs is that's the icing on the cake there.
Yeah, look at the keyboard and the original materials, including unpacking instructions. And
I'm going to save that image.
Yeah. Clean inside and out. Got your hard drive there, and they included a little bit of information. But yeah, pretty good shape.
Yeah, I would say so.
Mm-hmm. So if you are going to spend that kind of money, this is, at least you want to get one in really nice condition. With
get the 603 one, not the 601.
Yeah. This one ships from British Columbia in Canada. And so take that into account, because there's going to be some shipping price on that. I don't know. What else can we say about this one?
Well, it does look like it had the Ethernet card built in, because these didn't have it on the board. So I think that's a factory Ethernet card. It looks like they might have a factory modem there too. So whoever bought this went all out.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, it was 1997, 98 when this one came out. So they really needed all the I/O, I suppose.
Right. Of course, you got your onboard SCSI, onboard video. Yeah, it's ready to go. All right. Well, we'll see how that fares next week. Okay. Next.
All right. Our last auction is a clone of a vest. And by that, I mean a power computing vest. The official wear if you're going to be operating your power computing computer. Lots of pockets for, I guess, all your adapters and power cords. That is a lot of pockets, guys. I'm just saying. That is more pockets than vest.
It's like
a photographer.
Or photographer,
fishing, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can fit all your dongles in there.
Yeah, what exactly. Right.
Hey, this is a family friendly.
Well, your SCSI HDI adapters and all. Your weird Performa HDI.
What is this thing right here? What would you secure along the left side of the vest and those little Velcro things?
Let's see, headphone cables.
Maybe, I don't know. That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. So this vest here. Back when Macintosh clones were allowed, Power Computing had the Power Base line of Mac clones. This was the Power Computing Mac World's party invite and show off party. When Steve Jobs came back, he canceled all the clone contracts and he bought Power Computing. So a little bit of Apple history here. He's got some information from Wikipedia. Wikipedia. Any community fan's gonna understand what I just did. It's got a buy it now price of $119.99. This is coming out of St. Peters, Missouri. So shipping's reasonable. Looks like it's never been worn. It still has a tag that says, Steve says, let's party.
Now tell us, other Steve with us here. Who is that Steve?
So that, I believe, is the president of Power Computing. I actually have a shirt with his face on it, not with the sunglasses, but I did buy a shirt, which I'll probably be wearing in one of the upcoming videos with him on it. It's quite along the same line of, the other Steve says this, but this Steve says that,
Yeah. Yeah, look at those dog tags. It says,
I just wish it said a size. I'm going to email the seller because that is quite tempting.
That would be great for your episode. Steve says
that's a tax write-off excuse. Yeah,
there you go. I think you must have this.
I'll get outbid. Don't worry.
You could wear that in public, right? I mean, they went all out. There's a Power Computing little label on the back. You put put your gear back there.
If I ever wanted to dress up as a fisherman, that's the outfit to do it in.
And I love the photos with the seller perched on the top of a stool,
No socks. Yeah.
gripping the stool very carefully with his toes, not to fall off, so he could get the right angle on that awesome vest.
They did what they had to.
That's right.
And look at that. There's the
That's really cool.
the little tag. It was
Yeah.
like an invite or something for the party itself. Hosted by IBM and Power Computing, the strategic briefing gathering, codenamed Blowout Party. Cocktails provided. Present invitation at the door. Invitation admits one. At the Fillmore on January 7th, 1997. Look at that.
It's just cool to
Nice.
have that history there too.
Yeah.
That is cool.
right.
That is really, really cool. And what do they want for this, John? Did you say?
$119.99.
Buy it now. Make an offer. Yeah.
We could, well, if we split it 3 ways, we could share it.
I don't know if it's big enough. It had to be pretty big.
Well, that's I'm messaging them to see what the size. They list everything but the size.
Yeah, that'd be important to know. I bet it looks like it's, I don't know. It looks like it'd be pretty big. It kind of, because it's an outer garment, it would have to drape.
Mhm. Right. I mean, at least you wouldn't have to worry about sleeve length with something like this.
Yeah.
It'll cut off the circulations to your arms, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll find out next week if Steve has purchased this for one of his episodes.
You guys already made me purchase another item, and for the people only watching us on YouTube, you'll be able to see this. But this was that pin with the I forget the woman's name, but she was in the 1984 ad, the one who throws a sledgehammer. And
Nice.
so you guys posted this; it was a reasonable price, and I said, you know what? I've never seen this before, and I'm itching to add it to my collection. So look what you guys did. This is all your
All right.
You're
John.
welcome.
John, remind me to list the next one of those that we made up. All right.
I'll start printing another one. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Good. All right. We'll be right back with Steve from Mac 84. All right. We're done with that segment.
Yeah, just keep
So
churning
let's-
those out. I'll keep buying them.
we get on. Say, whoa, look at this. Never seen before. Amazing. Rare. Oh, and look, another one. That's a coincidence. That's a coincidence, I'm sure.
Well, it's like
fact
the
that there's
I
a
don't-
single one only proves that they're authentic. And
you
just as rare.
remember the Apple II boxed Atari games,
Yes.
like
yes.
brand new sealed, and I think that guy is still selling them. I don't know where this person found basically a warehouse full of these things, because everyone I know in the Apple II community has bought probably a whole set of the games over the years.
Yeah.
I've got my own, and then
I have
they
one.
keep showing up on eBay sealed, sealed,
Oh,
fresh,
they're
and
great.
mint.
Yeah, I had a few years ago, I was fixing PC laptops for a guy, and he was going to pay me. And then all of a sudden, he got this Apple II GS and Apple IIe, basically in beautiful shit condition. And the only condition was he wanted to keep the game. He runs a video game store. He wanted to keep the games for it. I said, yeah, go ahead and keep the games. But I don't think he's been able to sell them either, because they're in such, there's so many of them.
Yeah.
His were in pretty good shape. They weren't sealed, but still.
All right. We ready to go?
Yeah.
I am
Take a
ready when you
sip
are.
of water here. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. Glug glug.
Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Well, I think it might have been last week in the news, because it just premiered part 1 of Steve's series on the Apple clones, not just Mac clones, but all clones related to Apple. And so we thought, what better person to say more about that cool series that he's got going on than Steve from Mac 84 himself. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to be here.
Although you've been here the whole show, so I guess
Been lurking in the background.
a delayed welcome. My apologies for not welcoming you earlier, but
You will
this
hear
is-
from my lawyers.
this is your segment. So let's see. Tell us what prompted you to do this particular focus.
Absolutely. So I picked up a Umax Apus 2000 model, is how it was branded, for $5 from a, I'm sorry, $10. Let me explain how much I spent on this darling machine at a computer flea market, maybe 2010 or something like that. And I don't really recall what I knew about this machine, except it was cheap. I had enough for it, and it looked interesting. I don't think I really knew much about the clones then, but I picked that up in a heartbeat. There was a guy running a table that always had Apple stuff, and they were, I believe, always just going into offices, pulling out systems, and that was their job. So they always had some cool Mac stuff. And being a PC flea market, there wasn't always a lot of Apple stuff. So I basically was like bothering these poor guys at their table and occasionally spending money for like 5 hours during the day. So I got my first clone, had no idea what the heck it was. And when I started the YouTube channel in 2017, I started looking at some of the stuff in my collection that I thought, hey, this would be cool to show off, and things that maybe nobody else had done on YouTube before, which is always rare because you always get some, even if it's a shaky camera video, you get some representation of something on YouTube. So I started looking at this machine, and it was going to be the 3rd or 4th episode for my channel. I was going to talk just about this UMax machine. But the more research I did with it, the more I went down that rabbit hole of, oh, well, other companies made these. And so I started to make a little bit of a script there, and I never shot that version because I just kept learning more about it. And sooner or later, I ended up buying a power computing desktop, and it was with the box and all the accessories and everything in beautiful shape. And so I said, well, now I got to incorporate this into that video, you know? And as I developed that, I said, actually, wait, there are clones that were made before the PowerPC clones. Well, I want to cover those too. And so it just kept going down and down this rabbit hole. And I thought, you know, I really want to do this justice. I am sort of the fan of these documentary videos that I see online, that they really go and start from the beginning and work themselves up or whatever direction they like to do. But I thought, you know, if I'm going to do a video about this, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do my research. I'm going to try and get as many sources available as possible. If I have a trouble understanding the timeline of this stuff, I'm sure others have. So let me put something together that's easily digestible. And I don't know if I'll be able to cover all the models, but, you know, let me take a stab at covering some of the more popular ones. And that's where this craziness started.
I see. Well, I think there is a market, at least for me, because I don't know that anybody else has taken a good look at that long history and put it all together. So, and there's a lot there that, you know, just watching the first part that I wasn't familiar with, even me, I should say.
Wow.
No, I mean, especially those, you know, a lot of people are familiar with the Outback, you know, the Colby stuff, but there was there's some oddballs in there that people don't know about because they came and went so fast. Because
and it's really difficult to find the history of that stuff because there's like one mention in the Mac world, and it's like, wait, where did this come from? And you know, I have to say, like, the archive.org has been a great resource. You know, those old newspaper archive websites. I mean, I have books like the Apple Confidential 2.0, which is an excellent book, and just a lot of those publications are like the only place where you get a mention of a name. And then I have this name I have to do some searching on and researching. I found people that used to work at UMax. I've been talking to them, and it's been an excellent journey just finding this stuff. And I didn't know a lot of this stuff before I started to do the research. So it is funny. I will get some messages of people like, how did you know this? And I'm like, well, I didn't until I did. You know? But I mean, especially those early Macintosh clones, like the Unitron machine. By the way, that was the one of the most fun things is recreating those logos as vectors, because those logos didn't exist anywhere but at like a 200 by 300 JPEG or something like that. Wow. But yeah, reconnecting with some of those very early machines was very interesting, and I actually made a lot of connections of people who used to work there or worked on those machines. So that was really cool to do.
Oh, great! Wow, yeah. So what span does the first part cover?
So the first part covers essentially from 1994 until 1991 or 1992 when the Macintosh Portable and the PowerBook came out. So I kind of ended it on that. The episode was only supposed to be about 22 minutes long, and it ballooned to about 32 minutes as what happens when you're working on videos. Right. And so that encompasses the earliest Macintosh clones that I could find. Now, I say in the beginning of the video, that I'm not perfect. There's probably going to be corrections and such like that. And there's a few minor things and line flubs that I did, but I think I represented that pretty well, especially considering how difficult some of this stuff is to narrow down. But the next video will likely cover, let's say 93, just to ramping up of the clone period. Editing a 30-minute video probably almost killed me. So the next one might be 15 or 20 minutes to give myself a little bit of a break. But I will try and get that out before the end of the summer. I'm trying to give myself some breathing room there. But this summer here in the US at least. And so I do have a lot of the script written for that, but it's collecting the machines and doing B-roll. And I have some sources that I have to get back from and photos of clearance and stuff like that. So that's always exciting, but it's so it's such a fun subject to dive into.
Are you
Go ahead.
Oh, so are you planning on getting into the Hackintosh?
I think
at all?
I think I'll mention it a little bit just because I for one have dabbled in that ages ago when like Tiger was out, and so that might be something I sort of touch on a little bit. But it is interesting just finding out like the little nuances here, like we're seeing in the chat about the Mac OS 8 licenses and stuff. And it's you hear so much conflicting information. Like you hear, oh no, yeah, Power Computing had a license. Then you look in the books and one says it didn't, one said it doesn't. And so you have to reach out to these people who were there at the time. Like, no, yeah, we had the discs, but yeah, we didn't ship them out to many people.
So will you be able to conclude it in one more part? Or
no, I think this I know I was joking with some guys from the MacYak podcast. I think there's going to be a part for every color on the Apple logo. So this might be a 5 or 6 parter, especially if I chunk this up into like 10, 15 minute segments that are easily digestible. But there's a lot to talk about because what I want to do is talk about the introduction of the PowerPC Mac and sort of the roadmap of Apple's OS at that time, which was, as we all know, very jumbled and a lot of empty promises and such. And so I think it's very interesting to talk about that and the struggles that, should they license, should they not license? And then the Power Mac comes out and then they decide to license shortly, before, and they eventually came out in 95 or something like that. And then what I think is very interesting, of course, is the battle to have the most powerful machine. So that'll probably be part 3 of the clones making the best machines and Apple trailing behind. And one interesting thing to note there, just a preview for you lovely viewers, of course, you only get this on the RetroMacCast. So and that is the way that Motorola tried to come out with their own G3 processor based clone right before Apple did. But Jobs came back right at the last moment and he put a kibosh on that, like literally weeks before it was supposed to enter, I believe, the final development of those machines. But otherwise, you would have had the first G3 not coming from Apple, which is a little silly.
Yeah, I'm sure Steve, he would not stand for that for sure. Yeah.
And Brian in the chat, I've been talking to him. I actually met up with him on one of my e-waste dumpster diving adventures. And he has a Pippin, so I will definitely be sneaking that in somewhere because the Apple Pippin is technically a clone. It's a PowerPC clone there. So I think that's a very interesting little subject to squeeze into one of the parts of the video. So my goal is to be complete as I can. So I don't know if I necessarily have as many parts in my mind as there may be, but we'll see where it takes us.
Okay. Well,
nice.
We'll be watching all of them and certainly mention them here as they come out. Great. Well, if you haven't seen it already, go on over to Mac84 on YouTube. Check out the rise and fall of the Macintosh clones, part 1. Very entertaining. It goes by quickly because it's full of information and it's really interesting, especially for folks like us that grew up during that age and remember all those names and just a little foggy on the details, but you get it all there.
There's a lot of little goodies and little Easter eggs in the B-roll too, which I'm sure a lot of people will catch. But cool. What I would also like to say is if anybody has any photos or videos of their own Macintosh clones, especially the PowerPC ones, or even if it's an earlier one, I've already gotten a bunch in my inbox, but what's a few more? So if anybody wants to send over some photos or videos of their clone, I can't guarantee all of them will be used, but I'm always happy to look at them. you can just spam me on my email, mac84tv@gmail.com. I'd be happy to look at those.
Perfect. All right. That's the end of that segment. Good job, everybody. Go
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
I was
I really need
fiddling around with
to.
my pin there, but
Oh, RPC pin.
I have to
Nice.
wear that
Oh,
in one of the
nice.
episodes.
Yeah. I've got a power computing clone, but I've never got it to run. It was one of my friends named Steve, oddly enough,
I'm losing track.
gave it to me, and I don't know if it's I really just need to pull it out and see if I can figure out if it's a RAN issue or what have
A
you.
lot of those, if you don't have a full PRAM battery, they will just act
It's
dead.
one of those.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it could very well be that. And I've heard that. I haven't thankfully had that issue on mine. Actually, I probably did on this one here. This is an APS model, which is a sub licensee of Motorola. So it actually just has a StarMax logic port in there.
Oh, nice.
But apparently that I had to push the CUDA switch to get it to turn on sometimes. So a little bit problematic. Different troubleshooting steps with some of these clones. Makes it very exciting.
It's interesting you mentioned the Pippin as classify that as a clone. I was
Yeah,
maintaining.
because I mean that was licensed.
Yeah, to Bandai.
Yeah.
There's no Apple logo on it.
Yeah.
And it's a 603. Well,
it's an interesting, weird one.
it is. Yeah. But I try to, besides the Pippin, which I'm glad I have, I don't have any clones in my collection. It was always a dangerous path to go on, right? Because while they're interesting, and the other part about it is that we say bad things about the design, about the beige era of Macs, especially the boxy beige era. But compared to those clones, the Mac designs were still far and above. I mean,
Oh my
you look
gosh,
at
yes.
Those eBay finds. We were looking at that Power and that UMax, and like, yeah, you could put any PC name on there, and you would be able to tell the difference.
Well, some of them actually use PC cases, like the UMax. I believe they were actually using Dell cases.
Oh my god!
I mean, Apple. This is a 4400 here for those of you who are watching the video version, but that's an oddball in Apple's case. They tried to build the cheapest clone possible, and boy, did they succeed.
But it still looks more interesting than any of those clones. I mean,
until you open it up.
Yeah, well,
it's not too pretty inside.
Yeah. All right, let's move along. We're gonna do the news. So,
ready when you are.
Pull up a few things. Let's go. All right. Well, that's not what I want to do. Let's do this. Is that what I want to do? That's last year. You know what? Actually, forget it. We'll talk about it. We're going to talk about the day that it is, and I don't need any references. So let's go in 3, 2, 1. Well, we mentioned at the top that it is January 24th, which was the day Steve Jobs introduced Macintosh to the world. We had learned about it through the Super Bowl ad, and then he officially did the announcement on this day. I thought I need to talk about what I'm wearing before I pass out from the heat of wearing this thing. First of all, the hat. I don't. Neither of you guys noticed my hat.
Oh, nice.
This is an original release Macintosh Picasso hat. So this is embroidered, and I'm not sure I've even ever put it on my head until today. But I decided, what the heck?
So that is actually from the 80s.
Yeah.
That particular hat.
Yeah,
that's very
fantastic.
Cool.
It's kind of
that is great.
Very vibrant though. The colors are very nice.
Very vibrant. Yeah.
Very vibrant. Yes. Unlike the wearer. Okay, so this jacket here, though, I gotta show this modeled here before I take it off because I am getting warm here in the room with it. So on the front, this is just a black one of those satin jackets, and it's just got like a reversed here. So you got a little red solid apple of them on the front, but on the back, I don't know if you can see this.
Oh wow!
Holy cow!
Back is, can you see that?
Yeah. Is there something written underneath, or is that the keyboard? Oh wow! Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So the Picasso logo, just all in red, but also I think like a launch kind of jacket that I've never seen one of these before.
Where'd you get it from?
It was an eBay thing years and years and years ago. Just
Wow.
picked it up, and so all right. Now that I officially wore it on the day, I'm going to take it off. It is lined, and oh my gosh!
Wait. Is this going to be a fans only video?
Yeah, I wasn't prepared for this. You didn't tell me this in the notes.
Yeah, that was probably
Only wearing
better
one
to show it
layer.
like that. Let's see. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyway, so back on till next year. All right. Well, John, you hauled out your 120.
Oh, I hauled it. I just moved it from that end of the room to this end of the room. So
that's still a long ways. That's a big room. And when you turned it on earlier, I don't think we were live at that moment.
Right.
It made an interesting sound, and Steve commented like something's wrong with your Mac.
I don't know if you could pick that up or not, but so this has the Mac Raminator from Big Mess of Wires in it.
Okay.
And I really wish I had the programmer. There was a separate thing to be able to program it. So unfortunately, what's on it is what came on it when I bought it. I really wish I could go in and change what's built into it. But yeah, the Mac Raminator gave it. It had a lot of great enhancements for the 128K and the 512K Mac.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now I have mine over here behind me. I thought about turning it on today, and then after that debacle a few weeks ago, I said, well, maybe I'll figure it. I'll turn it on in private and get that scored away before I do anything.
And then once you know it works, then you can turn it on here. Like, oh my gosh, hey,
it still works. Yes.
I'm so surprised. This is fantastic.
You guys are really veteran YouTubers now. You know how the whole shtick goes.
Right. I'll superimpose a working screen on it. And
yeah, there you go.
do all that.
James, why is your 128K Mac in color?
How about you, Steve? You have something there with you.
Yeah.
That, reminds you of the first Mac.
So this is from the 512K, but this is the accessory box from the 512K.
But it's
is that what's above your shoulder also? On the shelf
yeah. And then we have that is my 512K, I believe. So that is right there. And the 128K from filming the clone episode is by my knees right now. So it's in close proximity.
But the box, other than it actually yours came with the 512. The box isn't different from a 128 box.
I believe so. I believe they're identical.
Yeah,
I gently move the brittle plastic here. We'll get a fancy
look at that thing.
Right.
Love it.
Yeah. Of course, you got the
Macintosh
Apple and
here is
user manuals, your power cord.
So this is a Mac Paint. We have Macintosh manual here. If I gently take this out, it'll give you a lot of wiggle room here. And then we have the programmer switch, the original cassette. This is where the power cord will go. And we have some discs here, and there's actually still some with some of the labels also, which are somewhere. But this is in pretty damn good shape.
And it came with blank, unlabeled diskettes like that?
I believe mine came with these. Now, I don't know if they were original, but the indent here is quite thick enough. So I'm not sure if they were added afterwards. But
or wasn't there a box? I thought there was a box.
No, well, there was a box, but not in there.
And this is telling you about how to use the right protect discs there. But what's interesting here is there's two wells here for discs. And when I originally got this, there was a Mac Paint, a Mac Draw, and then the System Tools disc. And there were a few of these scattered around. So I don't know if these, and they had the Apple label on it. So it could have been that this guy bought the detachable labels. So it could be that the person who bought this machine had decided, I'll just put them in the same box. But I think so. I do still have some of those labels here. So they are authentic discs as far as I'm concerned. So that is always nice to have, and you got the little Apple logo built in there too. So very nice little set.
Is the power cord still?
It is not. It is plugged into one of the compacts, but
I would love to have you get a really good high res scan of the Apple disc label flat.
I'd be happy to. Yeah, because it's really neat. And this was all of, let's say, I think I bought the box for $20 back in 2008 or something like that. So,
nice.
Yeah,
wow.
Before all the Apple prices went silly and stuff. So that's how I got most of my collection.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Fortunately, I got most of mine pretty cheap.
Yeah, those boxes will yellow too.
This is a little bit yellowed on the on this. As you turn it around, you can see if it's a little more yellowed or dirtied or whatever. But I mean, it is 37 years old or 36 years old at this point, so I'll give it a pass.
So what were you doing, Steve, in January of 1984? Were you aware of what was happening?
I was somewhere in the cosmos waiting to be born, I believe.
I figured as much. Let's see. I wasn't aware of what was going on. I was 13 years old at the time, and I wasn't aware of what was happening that day. You, John, do you have any recollection of?
To some extent, yeah. I was actually a senior in high school in '84. Our communications lab had a Lisa that I never actually got to touch.
Oh.
I joined the Air Force, and when I came back on my first leave, I actually went to talk to some of my old teachers, and they had gotten a Macintosh at that time.
Oh,
and
cool.
I still remember getting to sit down and him showing me the mouse, and you just kind of jaw agape. What the? Because I was a big Apple II person at the time, and I still have my 2E from high school. I still very much remember just the gorgeous, crisp black and white graphics and the way the mouse worked and everything. It was pretty mind-bendingly awesome.
That's cool.
I remember it must have been soon after it came out. They had one in Wichita, Kansas I think it was a Dillard's department store at the mall. And it was just sort of sitting there on a desk. I don't know if they were selling them or what was going on. There was nobody around, and I saw it sitting there. I was like, what the heck is this? And I was able to sit down and start playing with it.
Nice.
But yeah, you just don't forget that time when you see it. Like you talk about that Lisa you never got to touch. The first Lisa I saw, I didn't get to touch it, not because they wouldn't let me, it's because I was too scared to. It was a computer fair again in Wichita, Kansas, and people were gathered around this thing, and I had didn't even know, that Apple made these things. We had, of course, Apple IIs in the schools, and there it was, and there's some, people dressed in suits, right? Business types, like looking at it and selling it, the traditional old computer salesman. And we were gathered there, a bunch of us kids, and they said, "Hey, go ahead." And I was like, "Well, no. I didn't want to." It wasn't that I didn't want to. It's just there's a little too many eyes, and there's a little too much pressure maybe to.
And the price tag was just a little high.
Yeah, you don't want to sit down there and then, start speaking into the mouse or doing something silly. But,
hello, computer.
Well, I was looking around this morning to see if there was anybody posting any stories out there, any accounts. Most of the stuff I found was posted last year. I'm sure later on the day we'll see some folks post some pictures. There's
you heard it here first. Then. There you go.
There you go. Or maybe we're the ones that have to remind everybody. There is a great article over on Forbes that was posted last year by Tim Bajarin, a personal account of Apple's Macintosh launch 36 years ago. Of course, that was last year, but it still is a great read, and it's just it's a personal account from a year ago of something that happened 36 years ago then. But a really good account from the perspective of somebody sitting there at the launch.
That's cool.
And thinking that, obviously not knowing what was going to follow and thinking this is just a bunch of marketing hype, and there's Steve Jobs trying to the snake oil salesman and all that, and this is just a little ridiculous. And what is this thing? Come on, this is people like commands, right? And they like text displays, and that's
and cursor keys on the keyboard. Yeah,
right, exactly. Anyway, okay, well, thanks for sharing your little mementos and your stories, and
it looks to be in great shape, John. You kept it well.
Oh.
Yes, happy birthday, Max. Sorry.
All right. Well, we're done with that, and I think we'll close out the episode.
So, John, did you buy yours new, or was that a hand?
No. This was so again. We talked about most of my computers came from school surplus sales.
Oh,
that
nice.
used to happen in the area here when they were getting rid of their Mac. So most of these systems only cost me $15 to $5.
Wow, awesome.
Yes, yeah, and then including my G3 all-in-one, and
oh boy.
But and because I didn't have to spend that much on these, I did do a few splurgy ones. Like I got a 20th anniversary. My first new Macintosh, my first Macintosh that I got was actually a terrible Macintosh. It was the 6200.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
What a bad taste in my mouth.
Like 75 megahertz 603 processor. Fortunately, mine was one of the ones that had the graphics chip issue.
Oh,
and so it was a service technician. If you ran a little tester and it was the bad one, they would replace your logic board, and he replaced it with a 603E 100 megahertz board.
Not going to complain about that.
Actually made it pretty usable. Certainly, it had Descent running much better
nice
than on my 75 megahertz. Anyway, so
Sometimes
I didn't get into the Macintosh game until well into the 90s. I was an Apple II GS user before that. That was my last of the two line that I was using.
Do you remember that one, that the original one there? What was where'd you get that one specifically?
Oh goodness. That
wasn't a school sale, was it?
It would have been no. The 6200 was.
No, I'm talking about the one behind the original Mac behind you.
Yeah, this was at the school sale.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Okay, wow,
that's cool.
Because you'd have to have a fairly well-to-do school that was using original Macs, because they were expensive. I mean, even it was rare that colleges had them because they were so expensive and so unusual. It was such a risk, especially when they had usually such an investment in Apple IIs. You didn't see a lot of Macs hit, because you're talking elementary, high school sales is what you're talking about.
Yeah,
and so it would have been very rare to have Macs of that era at that level of school, right?
When I found out about them, when I first started going to those sales, they still had a lot of compact Macs. So it could be a matter of this school got these Macs used from somewhere else.
Oh yeah.
And then I would not be surprised if that was the
I
case.
wonder if they were actually computers that were used by teachers and staff as well.
I wouldn't be surprised. As opposed to, because especially with these, there was no educational software. I mean, the 128 case barely ran software. So
yeah, I mean, I got my 512K with the carrying bag and the image writer printer, and the stipulation was I had to take everything the guy had for it. It was $20.
If you insist, I will.
$20. I think this was
Nice.
2001 or something like that.
Oh wow!
Nobody wanted this
Nice.
stuff. Nobody wanted it, and so, and then I got the 128K, which actually was upgraded to a Mac Plus with this add-on board and a SCSI card and everything. That was in questionably working condition, but I got it for $75 or so not too long ago. But the good thing about that is the only questionable thing about it was the brightness dial was turned all the way down. So when the guy turned it on, he was too scared to turn it on again. And
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's
I
great.
got a pretty good deal on it. So
That's when you put one hand under the chin and you take the other hand and you go, let me get this. These things are finicky. You start tapping rhythmically at the back. Right. So, yeah, I think I could get it. Wait. Let me tap a little faster. You got to get the right.
Use my psychic powers. Remind me never to buy a Mac from you, James.
Yeah. Oh, this one's shot.
I'll give
Probably-
you $5 for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. Not even worth recycling value.
Yeah. I'll
Give me $5 and I'll dispose of it for you.
You know, I really need to see if we have a local electronics recycling center
Uh-huh.
to see. You know, I don't know if we have one. Do you know, James?
You mean besides your place and mine? No.
I'll come there for a small fee.
Well, I mean, no, I would really like to. You know, that seems to be a good source for trying to find some other older hardware. Not that I'm looking for a ton, but it would be good to keep an eye open just to see what shows up there.
I think these days you're right. You never know. I think it's funny as the years go by. Obviously, the school sales is gone for this vintage. It's really the folks that have still got these things tucked away someplace.
Yeah, and
At,
it is
garage
interesting because
sales.
you know I do work with one or two recyclers in the past. I have worked with them rather, and usually it's just G3 and G4 stuff. But you know, the oldest stuff I've gotten from them was like a Quadra 800 and a 2CX. So there's still some of this stuff floating around, but I think it's more of, you know, they cleared out an office that has not changed since 1993, and, and that's where you find some of these. Or, you know, like the story, like you were just saying, James, of, oh yeah, I had all this stuff in the attic. You know, if you didn't know that stuff was there, the next person moving in might have had some goodies.
Speaking of which, you mentioned Quadra 800. I found a Quadra 800 in my attic as well.
Take the battery out, please. I got that one from the recycler. As soon as I got home, I took the battery out. It was already expanding the battery. As soon as I removed it, I did a live stream. As soon as I removed it, you just see the battery expanding. I was like, okay, that was too close.
Wow. Yeah, I'm always scared to open those things up. I mean, it's already been up in the attic for over a decade.
You're only going to help it at this point.
Oh, well,
The
I think
worst
whatever's
thing-
done is done. But if you think that that extra day or two is going to matter from the 15 years that it's been up,
The worst thing I ever did was store a 2FX motherboard on its side and did not remove the batteries.
So
That was not good.
I didn't personally do this, but the Macintosh TV I have, the person stored it on its side. The battery leak destroyed the logic board and the TV tuner card. So it's basically a pile of rust. The case is in beautiful shape, but everything else.
Fortunately, that'll take other logic boards.
Yeah, it just won't take the back that's designed for it. And so
Right.
I keep hearing from my friends that, oh, you could recap that fine, joking about it. And I'm like, there's nothing to recap. There's no traces left on the board in that area.
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty.
Well, hey guys, let's record the outro.
Oh, sorry.
We don't
chat
forget.
away here.
Yeah,
Speaking of which, do we know what we want to do next
we don't.
week? Do you want to try to do your the video call
video.
system that you
Oh,
cameras?
yeah. What was that thing called? I should find out what it's called before I hold on. Be right
Take a
back.
break. Yeah. Take 5.
Please stand by once again. But yeah, so I definitely gonna have to pull up my power computing and play around with that.
Yeah. And
Okay.
That'll be fun.
All right. You ready to go?
Yeah,
Let's
all set.
record in 3, 2, 1. That brings us to the end of another episode of the RetroMacCast. Our thanks to Steve, aka Mac84, for joining us and giving us some behind the scenes and motivation of his series, The Rise and Fall of the Macintosh Clones. You can see that on YouTube, part 1 and part 2. They said sometime this summer.
Yeah. So if I don't kill myself making it, hopefully sometime this summer. But it's always a pleasure to be on the show talking to you guys.
Also known as The Rise and Fall of Steve.
Yes. That's part 7 when you just see me fall down the ground.
That'd be another documentary if you had a crew following you.
Right. Yeah, yes.
I don't know if it'll be as popular.
Next week, an attic find. One of these things that I've unearthed, and I threw away one, and then I didn't throw away this one because John shrieked when I mentioned that possibility. So,
Well, yeah, you're supposed to give the other one to me so we could try.
oh,
Oh,
I still might have another one.
you better
Oh.
because those go for a hefty sum on eBay, James.
What? Don't tell me that.
I hundreds of dollars.
No way. Oh my
Unfortunately.
gosh.
So go. I'm going to your house and
Oh,
digging
that
through your
was-
trash. You threw in
Steve,
some
Steve,
was
you
months
weren't
ago.
supposed to. Steve, you weren't supposed to tell him that until after he gave me the other boxed one.
Oh no, that other boxed one is cheap. You give that to John. That's
Oh,
garbage.
okay. The Apple Video Phone Kit, everything you need to video conference over the internet or a LAN. And still in the box. I don't even know if I've ever opened this thing. So we'll do an unboxing and see what this thing is all about. It would be a stretch goal for me to connect this to something. Although I might actually do that as well because the other day, so here's a little aside. We got a minute, don't we?
Sure.
Had somebody over at the house doing some work on the house, and they had seen the collection. I gave them a little tour. They were an Apple user, and he said, "I hope it's not an imposition, but I got a favor to ask." I said, "Yeah, sure. What is it?" And he said, my dad has got this Olympus digital camera that's got all these pictures from my childhood, and we've been unable to get them off the camera because we don't have a computer that it will work with. Do you think you could do that?" I was like, this is all I live for, right? I have every single computer that Apple has ever made. I think I could probably help you out, right? But it's an early Olympus camera that didn't have removable storage.
Wow.
Right? It's all onboard storage.
So was it a serial connection or
serial connection? It came with a serial connector for PCs, and then it also came with a little adapter that took it from the D sub or whatever.
right? It's like the 5-pin to
to a regular serial cable. So I thought, bring the camera. Let's do it. We haven't done it yet, but in the process of, I need to fire up something that will connect to it. So I hauled out my G3, which is in another room right now, and turned it on and fired right up, booted right up. That thing hadn't been turned on in probably 15 years. So we're in good shape, and that is the computer I could use to connect to this. So
perfect. Yeah.
I just need to get one. Then we'll do a 3-way call.
Well, James, you could probably use your TAM right behind you too.
Yeah, I could.
That costs extra though.
Add a little extra element of danger, sure. All right, so we'll talk about this thing. We'll see if I can get it working.
Great. If you find your other camera, let me know, and I will grab that, and we can actually. I'll put a system behind me over here, and we can actually try to do it.
That'd be
sure
awesome.
thing. All right. Okay. Well, I think that's about it. Steve, any parting shots?
No, you guys always run a great show, and always happy to be here. And just subscribe to Mac84 on YouTube, and there you go.
Great.
Oh yeah, wait. I do have one more thing, Steve.
Oh,
where do you announce? Yeah, one more thing for Steve. Where do you announce when you're going to be doing your live streams?
So I usually do that on Twitter. So my handle on Twitter is Mac84TV, and it's usually a bit of a guess of when I do that. I don't know until a half hour before. So,
right.
I've had some water issues in my basement, so that has not happened recently. But thankfully, everything is safe, so don't worry.
Great. All right.
Well,
thank you.
Thank you.
Until next week, remember, it's not old.
It's retro.
Okay. Now we can do bonus content.
I'm saying, James, I am in my car. I'm driving down to Florida and rummaging through your trash. You threw out some good stuff.
There are. So let me backtrack. I may not have thrown out one of these.
You better not have, because I'm gonna get in my car.
I may or may not. It was a flurry of activity, and there is another Apple product that's similar to this.
Okay, like the MPEG card or something silly like that, which I just bought.
And all I remember is when I was just getting rid of stuff, and I thought, I have 2 of this. I don't even need 2. I certainly one would be enough. And so that's why the second one went in the bin. And it may have been this one. It may have been there's this other thing I have that's.
Well, I'll do you one better. I'll give you my shipping address, and I'll send you a label. And whatever you want, you send it this way.
All right. I'll remember that. Okay. Well, but
Even
actually,
if you get to those monitors, I'll drive down.
I'm less inclined to throw away stuff.
You're going to have to arm wrestle me for some of those monitors.
I'll let you have them, John. Whatever you don't want, I'll take. Let's say that.
Now that we have this video outlet, and makes a lot more sense to show things that I've uncovered. I'm less inclined to throw things out, so
good.
That's good.
Let the sickness wash over you.
You establish priorities in the heat of the moment, and the priority a couple of weeks ago when I'm trying to move all this stuff was not what I'm doing on my YouTube channel. It was what I'm having to pack and haul and store.
I've thrown out stuff I regret. I'm just giving you a hard time because it's easier for me to do that than to address my own insecurities.
Well, let's spend some time on that right now.
Yes. Well, I was 10.
All right, guys. Well, thanks everybody in the chat for joining us.
Yeah, some repeat offenders there. So
I don't know. It seemed like we brought some of your followers along into the chat. Did you pre-announce that you were going to be here?
I did on a few. I did on the MacYak podcast, so I told everyone to join then. Great. And so Brian is someone I met up when I went to that e-waste place, and I got a bunch of goodies at. So he has a Pippin, so I'm gonna have to steal some photos and maybe videos from him or whoever else has one. I know one of you guys have one. So
I've got one, and one of the things I pulled out of the attic, it was not the Pippin. I never had the Pippin stored in the attic, but I did have the original box.
Oh, nice.
All the packaging, the keyboard in its box was there. So I don't know what he's got, but I mean, I can certainly take pictures or whatever.
Plenty of room for multiple pictures from everybody. And Brian's a long-time listener since 2007. My goodness. Hats off to you, sir.
Smoke.
He probably has a better memory of the show than I do.
All right. Well, I think breakfast is waiting for me. So
yes, I will not keep you guys, but it's always a pleasure. And when I release episode 2 or if there's anything else you want to yammer on with me about, I'm always happy to join.
Well, enjoy having you, and we don't have to wait till then. Although that might give you, but whatever.
I'll email you, James, because I have something I want to send to John, but I don't think I have his email address. But I don't want him to publicly announce it. So,
well, I got you. Your offer to help me with my Mac TV is greatly appreciated. I got a lot of things going on. I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to it, but I'll keep that in mind.
I just know mine is in such poor condition. I would want that not to happen to yours.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah. But I've got that problem times about 100. So,
gee, I wonder why I started recapping my machines, because I had the same problem.
Yeah. No, to be honest, that's really what I need to be doing. Is I need to I need to gear up.
When you are ready to do that, probably less than $100 could get you started. Okay. But I will warn you, it's an addiction, and before you know it, there's an $800 microscope on your desk.
Well, it's probably a drop of the bucket compared to the return on that investment here.
It is well worth it with all the machines that you probably have, I assure you. But I'll teach you everything that I was taught, and we'll go from there.
I love it.
Yeah, because I've got the SMC reflow kit.
There you go.
And I've tried to do my Apple IIe card, which only has 2 surface mount capacitors, and I still am leery about plugging it in because I don't know how good I did.
I'll send you an email if you want to send pictures back and forth. I just redid one, so I'll have a pretty good eye of if it's broken or not.
All right, and so I just texted you my
excellent
email in the StreamYard chat, so you'll see that.
Let me open that up before the thing goes up. Okay, great. There we go. So I will send you a message there, John, and I'm always happy to give you guys reasonable quotes for recappings. Thankfully, most of the boards you could just like the TV board, you could just pull out and put in an anti-static bag and bubble wrap it and put it in a flat rate box. And most of the people that send me boards, they've had no trouble getting them into like the small flat rate or whatever. Thankfully, those boards are pretty small. So
awesome.
All right. Awesome.
Well, we're going to end the broadcast. Thanks, everybody.
Take care,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.